NAS short, Dow short, and possibly a Bitcoin long. This is the daily entry, and I'm bringing you day trading setups on these assets as well as oil and gold. Let's go. Now, yesterday was a super volatile day out there. That Dow was pumping up, pumping down. It was absolute madness, lots of volatility, and did actually hit a couple of stops there along the way. But overall, not the worst day ever. We still got more green than red, but could have definitely been better with those couple of stops. But let's get into this NAS out the gates here, because this is the big one here for me today. And look, we're either going to get rinsed here at these highs, or we're going to have a banger short. So two zones for me to the upside, two tradable zones at the moment on the NAS. Shorts at 30,247 and shorts at 30,686. That is the all-time high we are looking at for a short there. I would assume some profit taking there for anyone long, and we should get some kind of reaction in those zones. So watching those areas carefully. The oscillator also will be teeing up nicely for us. Look at this. This is the 4 hour, also getting super overcooked here at the moment. So just being patient. Those are the big short zones that make sense to me to the upside. Then I do have one long zone. So if we get a quick sell in the market today, you are looking at longs 29,850. That region looking decent to me, and it's really just simply trying to play a horizontal level. So any drops that we have there could give us a nice long on this guy later on today. So those are the three NAS trade zones. Let's talk about the Dow. This thing was brutal yesterday. I got that first short on the Dow, that second short off the VWAP. I didn't get it, actually front ran that big zone that I had, but look at that eventual massive drop. And they did finally take care of these wicks that I've been talking about over the last week or so. Look at those wicks. They did finally get smashed. And now this brings us to the question is, like, do we have enough liquidity to keep bouncing this thing as we go lower down? So in terms of the Dow, I'd say, look, first long zone has got to be this region, 53,640. I would say we can reasonably look for a bounce in that area, 53,640. Obviously, in a perfect world, you want to see your oscillator reversing nicely to the downside. And then I've got a really nice zone up here for a potential short. Look at this beautiful wick left behind from yesterday on the 1 hour time frame that I'm watching. Look at this bearish order block sitting up here. Look at that 618. Look at this VWAP that is coming into play. So in terms of the Dow, that's going to be the banger. 54,000 at the moment, looking good into 54,040 on this capital.com US30 chart. Remember, these charts, they go into the Hackers Discord for you guys. I've got a separate daily entry channel there. I'll drop updates in there as well as any changes to the trade ideas and things like that. And if I am taking a trade, I'll update you guys in that section. Let's jump into oil as well. This is obviously our big guide at the moment, and still looking at two main zones for oil. Shorts for me, 86 into 87, still making sense. And longs, you can see they front ran my long zone yesterday. A little bit frustrating, bounced off that 50-day moving average. I do think there's a chance we get another bite here, 79.4. Now look out, if oil starts dropping, you're probably going to find that NAS starts pumping to the upside. You might get crypto start pushing up as well. Could be interesting. So 79.4 is the tentative long zone at the moment on oil. Look for that, and that would be the TP zone on the NAS, on some of these other assets as well, because an oil bounce, guys, remember, that could obviously send these things lower down. So that's the NAS, Dow, and oil. Gold also a little bit slow for me at the moment. I'm not hunting lower time frame stuff on gold. I'm really just focusing on some big areas over here, and I really do like this 200-day MA and to the upside. So kind of waiting patiently. 4,500. I still think there's good value up there. If we pump into that zone, I think there's a reasonable short reaction there for us, 4,500. And then in terms of longs, well, I've got a nice bullish order block sitting in this region as well. Some nice pivot levels to a VWAP. So 4,220. I think this is a pretty reasonable zone to try long on gold. So obviously keep your risk, you know, reasonable for yourself. It's about a 0.5% risk, should be okay. Maybe about 0.6, 0.7% risk there on a gold bounce in that area. But those two zones making sense for me. Now let's talk about Bitcoin. What is going on here? And we've got obviously this SEC meeting that is not happening. Did result in a bit of a sell-off on some of these crypto tokens, and Bitcoin obviously having a bit of weakness. Now in terms of the zones, I've just highlighted here on the chart. I've written here multiple reaction zones. Things are super interesting interesting here with BTC. And I just want to show you all these zones here at the moment. There's a lot of wicks. There's a lot of activity here for Bitcoin at the moment. So in terms of identifying the perfect short-term reaction zone, it does get tricky with all of these wicks sitting around. But in terms of the short-term timing, what do we know? Like we know, for example, this 2-hour oscillator is gearing up for some kind of reversal. It's just around the corner. We have a similar situation with the 1-hour oscillator as well on BTC. Look at that. We're starting to print reversals here at the moment. So that lets us start identifying a couple of zones of interest. And in terms of like between now and the next couple of hours, I think if we can get a drop in Bitcoin into 62,300 into about say 62,200, I think we need to take on some risk here and try this long in that region. So that is going to be my first zone for today. We do have a bullish order block floating in this region as well. And I think it's worth an attempt here on Bitcoin. So we want to see one more flush to the downside, drop it into that zone, drop it into those wicks, and get some kind of short-term bounce. Obviously, there's a chance that some of these zones don't work today because we have so many to the downside. And you can see other notable areas, 61.8. And then I've got my macro zone. And why is this the macro box? The reason I like this area is because we've got a macro 618 here, and we have quite a big daily level in this box. So this is going to be like the high probability bounce. If the market starts capitulating today for whatever reason, if there's a big sell-off here, there's a high probability reaction zone here, 61,370 down into 60,600, looking good to me. And you can just look at it on BTC on the daily time frame. You can see these are the big zones here, and look at that macro 618, some beautiful daily levels there as well. So I would expect a fight around that 61k. Okay, so guys, that is the daily entry. Keep it tight as usual. NAS short looks like my banger for today. We're going to do some live trading as well. You can catch the link here. You'll know exactly where to go. Okay, so we're going to be live trading in a couple of hours here. We'll see you guys later.